Hello, I'm a new YouTuber, but I'm also an old YouTuber, and not just because I'm basically ancient at 31 years of age. I've been making YouTube videos for over 10 years now, and although I may be just a shell of my former self, at one point I was almost a big deal, okay? I mean, 1 billion views is nothing to shake a stick at, Mom. Just because your other 2 kids are doctors doesn't mean I'm not important. I'm not important, though. Anyway, welcome to Sheaotic. This is a brand new journey for me. I don't exactly know where this channel is gonna go, but feel free to join me if you want. And if you ask me to play Battle Cats, I will fucking lose it. For my first video, I'm gonna tell you about the most famous people I've ever met. Spoiler alert, they're all YouTubers except for one. But that one was actually my favorite celebrity meeting of all time. So, back in 2016, when I peaked as a content creator, I was doing a lot of traveling, going to different gaming conventions, and that's where I met all these people while traveling, because nobody comes to Newfoundland, okay? So it's impossible for me to meet them here. Although, if you're a YouTuber and you wants to come to Newfoundland, I'll take you to Dildo myself and buy you fish and chips. So these aren't really in any order, except for the last couple who are definitely the most well-known on the list. But I'm just gonna go ahead and start with the worst one and just get it out of the way, all right? DJ Killer Keemstar. I think this was in 2015 at PAX East, but I'm not sure now. Whenever YouTube Gaming launched is when this happened, because I was invited to the YouTube Gaming launch party. I mean, gaming was super duper big at the time, and I think PewDiePie was like maybe the most subscribed. He had like 12 million subs or something like that, or maybe it was 6. It was like 6 or 12. It's not like I couldn't just look it up if I wanted, but I just can't be bothered. There was a YouTube Gaming launch party at this big bar. I don't remember the name of the bar, but it was in the basement, and they had an open bar there, so everything was free, which is pretty cool. They're going around with all kinds of snacks and hors d'oeuvres on plates. Pretty wild, okay? Because like I was surrounded by like super well-known YouTubers. There was like a pool room in that venue, and then in between the bar and the pool room was like a little hallway or something. And I was stood up talking to a couple people. I have no idea who now, but out of nowhere comes Keemstar. He was wearing like light blue jeans and a suit jacket. I just remember thinking that it was kind of a weird getup. And the weirdest part about it is he walked up and he was like, "Yeah, hey, what's up, guys?" And he just acted like he knew us. And I was just like, I don't really know how you're supposed to respond to a friggin' Keemstar jump scare, but I was just kind of like surprised, you know, kind of taken aback, like, Jesus, it's Keemstar. And I don't think he stuck around long in that little group. He just kind of wandered away, and I don't think I remember seeing him again much. But that happened. So I don't really have too much to say in terms of what Keemstar is like in real life, except he was very enthusiastic, and he acted like he was friends with everybody there. And he definitely was not friends with me. Okay, but that's like a story for another day. I've had beef with Keemstar on Twitter multiple times. If you want me to make a video on that, let me know down below. Next up, I want to talk about 3 YouTubers who used to be very closely related. I'm talking the OG Kwebbel crew. Kwebbelkop, Jelly, and Slogoman. I met them in, I think it was at Eurogamer Expo. I met them for the first time. I'm not even sure where I met them for the first time, to be honest, but they're an interesting group. Everybody knows Kwebbelkop, you know, super over the top, let's do this kind of guy, but he's actually really quiet in real life, and you're probably gonna hear me say that about a lot of YouTubers, because a lot of YouTubers are very animated on camera, and then you meet them in real life and they're actually kind of like super chill. Kwebbelkop was pretty quiet, but he was also kind of just like, I don't know how to describe it. We were hanging out in a hotel lobby, and Jelly and Slogoman dared him to walk into the kitchen where they were making food, and he got up and he did it. I just thought that was really funny. Those guys were pretty fun to hang out with. Jelly's a super nice guy. Slogoman I actually hung out with a different time as well when I was in New York. He took me out with his girlfriend, took me to dinner. So I don't have anything bad to say about those guys as people in real life. But let's not talk about Kwebbelkop AI, all right? I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to think about it.
Hey, I'm Grumps. I'm not so Grump. And we're the Game Grumps.
At that same YouTube gaming launch party I mentioned earlier, I saw Arin playing some pool. And I walked up and I had a very brief conversation with him. And I think I just said something about how I thought that he was, you know, one of the most respected YouTubers because everybody loved the Game Grumps. I don't know what it's like these days, but back then it was like everybody loved the Game Grumps and they were super cool guys. And he just kind of was like, oh, Thank you. That's the whole story. I also met the other Game Grump, or at least the current other Game Grump, Dan, at Indie PopCon a couple years later, I think. And I don't think we spoke a lot, but he was hanging out in the press room or whatever. And he seemed like a super nice guy. He seemed like he was super friendly. He had a really nice vibe. You know, when it comes to meeting people, a lot of the times you won't remember what they said. You'll just remember how they made you feel. And I definitely felt like he had like a nice calming, sort of warm presence, which is nice. Because some people suck, okay? Let's talk about one of my oldest friends on YouTube, Oompaville. I found his channel when I wanted help with Ark Survival Evolved. It was actually Best at Nothing who said, hey, check this guy out. He knows how to do a bunch of cool stuff in the game. Maybe he can help us make videos. So we quickly became friends, made videos together. And I love that guy, okay? He's awesome. Because I already knew him and stuff, it's kind of hard for me to be like, this is what he's like in real life. But he was pretty quiet. I think he was a little shy and nervous. It was his first, like, PAX event. I forget which one it was. But, yeah, it was really nice to meet him in person. And I'm looking forward to seeing him again someday. I did invite him and Chris to my wedding in October, but I expect them to say no because nobody comes to Newfoundland.
Well, shit, the YouTube game sure has changed from nerds with webcams to kids chasing fame.
Another longtime good friend of mine is MessYourself, and I don't even remember how me and MessYourself met. We somehow ended up connected on YouTube, and we made a bunch of videos together, and MessYourself is also someone that I absolutely love. He's so much fun. He's not as crazy as he is in videos. And that's just gonna be how it is for every single YouTuber because we're all putting on something when we're on camera. We're all trying to be fun and funny and the focus is on us, right? The focus is on me right now. I'm sitting in this room all alone, but when I'm in a room full of other people, I'm not as much of an idiot. But MessYourself is still an idiot in real life, and I think he would agree with me if I told you that. But he's a great guy to hang out with, and we had a lot of fun. We've hung out at least 3 times, once at a convention, once when I was invited to LA to play Jurassic World, and then once when I was passing through London. He's a very hospitable guy, and I appreciate his friendship.
You know that we're dying soon, right?
I'm aware of your Unis Honest channel going away, but
yeah.
you yourselves are not
Gonna be gone.
Well, we're gonna be gone.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, Markiplier and CrankGameplays are 2 people I actually have spent a lot of time with in the past, like at conventions. I took a bath with CrankGameplays once. We wore our swimming trunks, okay? Me and CrankGameplays go way back. He actually used to edit some videos for me. I can't tell you exactly which videos now, but there was a game where I went around a supermarket flashing people, and I think that was one of the last videos he made for me before Markiplier asked him to come work for him. And I was like, bro, do it, okay? I don't want to stop you from being Markiplier's number 2. That'd be crazy. He's a really nice guy, and he used to ask Markiplier to do backflips. That's how he met Markiplier. He was a backflip guy. He would go up and he'd be like, hey, Markiplier, can I do a backflip for you? And he'd be like, yeah, sure. And then he'd do a backflip, and everybody would clap.
Backflip, backflip, yeah!
Pretty funny way to get yourself known to people, right? As for Markiplier, we were never like friends, more like acquaintances, but we hung around in the same friend groups at conventions and stuff, so I saw him a lot, and I mean, he's pretty quiet in real life. Shocker.
Top of the morning to you laddies, my name is JackSepticEye, welcome to Happy Wheels!
The things I said about Markiplier, I could probably also say about JackSepticEye. We hung around in the same friend circles, so I saw him a lot and talked to him a lot, and he was always really nice to me. And he also bantered with me a lot, which I like. Not everybody likes to banter, but I do. And my best friend told me that when his friends meet me for the first time, they usually don't like me because of the way that I banter with people who I barely know. But he did say that when they meet me for the second time, they usually really like me because they realize that I wasn't actually being a dick. Usually I'm just trying to have fun. And I'm trying to make people feel more comfortable by bantering with them, not the opposite.
Warrior baby, what else is new? And my blade's gonna tear from you.
Baby, tonight, the creeper's trying to steal all our stuff again.
Gather your stuff. Yeah.
I think I met CaptainSparklez twice. Once was at a convention where he was in the backstage area, and I think I said hi to him then, but we didn't really talk. But then he was at a YouTube event in Canada that I was at, and I sat down with him and had a little chat for a bit. He was really nice to me and we had a good chat. He was telling me about how he just bought a house and then instantly there were pictures of CaptainSparklez' new house online. And I can't imagine how much of a piss off that would be, to be honest.
So come on, T-Series, looking hungry for some drama. Here, let me serve you bitch lasagna. Bitch lasagna, bitch lasagna. T-Series ain't nothing but a bitch lasagna.
Oh my god! Matt Shea met PewDiePie? Yes, and now we're coming full circle all the way back to that YouTube gaming launch party in 2015, to the room where Arin Hansen was playing pool. There was a bunch of pool tables in there, people were just hanging out, drinking, talking, and PewDiePie was there, so I talked to him. I don't know if that was the first time I spoke with him, because I think I met him maybe earlier in that convention, in one of the like creator areas. I sat down with him for a bit, and he was pretty quiet. Yeah, but in this pool room, I ended up playing pool with Felix on his team. It was like 2v2. I don't know who the other two people were at this point. It was a long time ago, okay? But I obviously remember the PewDiePie part. Also, there were like trays of tequila shots going around. So me and PewDiePie and a bunch of other people did tequila shots together as well, which was pretty cool. So in my experience, Felix is a super chill dude, and he was nice enough to let some tiny YouTuber in comparison to him play pool with him. And I appreciate that, and I hope he had a good time too.
Let's go live to Ollie Williams with the Black U Weather Report. Ollie?
It's raining sideways.
Sounds rough, Ollie.
Now it's time for my favorite celebrity interaction of all time, and this was at Indie PopCon in the same area where I met Dan for the first time. A man came in. I'm calling him a man because I didn't recognize him. Maybe I should have recognized him because Phil Lamarr is one of the most iconic people on the planet, in my opinion. I mean, you know the phrase, English motherfucker, do you speak it? From Pulp Fiction. He was in that scene. He was also on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and he is a voice actor in a million different things. So at first, I didn't know who he was, and I asked somebody, I said, who's that guy? And they were like, oh, that's Phil Lamarr. And I was like, okay. They were like, yeah, he's a voice actor. And I was like, oh, what does he voice act? And they were like, Samurai Jack. And honestly, I've never even watched Samurai Jack, okay? So that didn't really impress me. But then they said, he's also Hermes from Futurama. And I was like, damn! Hermes from Futurama is here! I was so excited, man. I love Futurama. And I love Hermes. And I was starstruck. As soon as I figured that out, I instantly got up and went over and introduced myself to him. And wow, what a friggin' nice guy. One of the first things I said to him is that I love Futurama and Hermes, and the dude instantly went into Hermes mode for me and started riddling off voice lines, and I thought that was just the most awesome thing. I was just there like, yeah! I guess I didn't really expect him to like perform for me, you know? So the fact that he did instantly made me respect this guy so much more, and that's not even the best part. The best part is that he was really interested in what we do as YouTubers. He wanted to ask questions. Like, genuinely, he seemed like the nicest guy ever. So me and a couple other people were telling him about YouTube, and he seemed super interested in it. And then I got on the topic about how I was supposed to go to medical school. I was in university, I just finished up a neuroscience degree, and around that same time, I started popping off on YouTube to the point where I could pay my bills with YouTube. And I had already applied for medical school, and I started having doubts about whether or not I wanted to do that because, I mean, becoming a YouTuber is like every kid's dream now. And I really wanted to do that. And I figured, worst case scenario, it doesn't work out and I'll go to medical school later, you know? I can't exactly say it was a bad idea considering I have seen quite a bit of success as a full-time YouTuber, but I called my mom and I told her I didn't think I was going to actually go if I got accepted. And she was like, Matthew, you gotta go to medical school if you get accepted. And I was like, well, I hope I don't get accepted then. And guess what? I got rejected. Maybe because I was too young. Maybe because I brought up the fact that I was a YouTuber. I don't think they thought I was ready. And I wasn't ready, okay? So they made the right decision. And I told all this to Phil Lamarr, and he got such a kick out of that story. He thought it was just fascinating. That's not even the last cool thing about Phil Lamarr, guys, okay? There's another thing. I DM'd him a while later. I don't know if it was months later or a year later or what, but at some point I DM'd him and just said like, hey, how's it going or whatever? And he was like, oh, I'm good. And he told me that he tells that story to people. He tells the story about how I didn't go to medical school and became a YouTuber to people. I'm not making this up, okay? I wouldn't make that up. I wonder if I can still find the DM. Here it is. I've not stopped telling the story of you choosing YouTube over medical school. It's so fun to see people over 40 lose their minds. Phil, I hope you can forgive me for exposing that DM. So, with that story out of the way, I think you can understand why Phil Lamarr is the celebrity that I had the most fun meeting ever. So there you go. That's my list of the most famous people I've met in my life. And to be honest, it was really fun meeting them all, even Keemstar. Just a little bit.